kind of had a realization this morning, which is good, and it covers a lot of the questions that have been coming up around some of the pieces of the platform. The original blueprint had the ability for people to receive tokens from our platform for 4 different ways. The first way was submitting their data of kilowatt hours produced, and then we reward them 1 token per kilowatt hour. The second way was create a secondary listing where people would list their 1-to-1 break-even ratios, which is technically the difference between the retail rate of the per kilowatt hour of your utility and the amount of the rate if you sell back into the grid through net metering. If there's a difference there, that's your break-even ratio per kilowatt hour. The third way was the platform itself funding solar, wind, and battery projects across the world, and then receiving revenue from those investments. And then the fourth way was plug installers into the platform so people can come to the platform and buy directly, which then would generate revenue for the platform, which increases the value of the coins that the people are collecting. So individuals can get coins through each of these pieces, because we're going to open the entire thing up to donation and then fix a revenue agreement to each dollar of donation that comes in. So if you donate to the platform, that donation becomes an annuity for you that has payment income for you. So the argument of opening up the platform to donation comes straight through the secondary market, because we want to require an action to gain access to the purchase page. So there's going to be 2 limits to gain action. The first one is you have to donate, so it can be any monetary amount, because you're saying we're going to repurpose this money for solar, wind, and battery build out. And then the second limit is you can't buy more coins than the US dollar value of the donation. So if you donate $5, then you can buy 5 coins. And if the coins are less than a penny, then you're not spending much money to acquire those coins, but the value is presumed to go up over time. So, and we can negotiate, or we can brainstorm on that piece a little further. Maybe it'll be a multiple of the amount that you've donated, like ×2 or ×3. You can buy that amount of coins. But then I think this is a better way to do it, because the secondary market is meant for people to say, whoa, I want to be able to receive this amount of money for the energy I'm producing, but the utility, the way it exists now, has convinced the state legislature to say we should only pay them this amount of money, which is usually you take out the generation fee and part of the transmission fee. So then it's like, since these electrons are only going this amount of distance on the grid, then we should charge this amount. That's actually a new argument, and it's more accurate to how much energy these renewable pieces are putting onto the grid. But the gist is it's less than the retail rate, and they either subtract transmission or generation out of that, or a weighted specific formula for each utility to meet the required revenue requirements. In the secondary market listing, that should just be one piece of it. The other piece should be if any individual or business had bought a solar system that does not meet their energy usage, and you're receiving a second bill from the utility. So you can list that bill on the secondary marketplace also, and then people can donate to cover that. So all of these will be listings that will be known as donations that you can donate to cover. So then that money goes that repurposed money goes to the individual, and then you gain access to be able to buy coins. So it works out really well that way, because you're doing a break-even 1-to-1 ratio and an over-expense ratio, which just means you're getting a second bill. So anything above the user account fee should be covered. And we'll do all this and it'll all be automatic, because we'll be able to either scan in bills or plug in APIs. I think this will make everything more robust, because people are, when you switch it from, oh, you have to purchase a listing, to donate to receive access to buy tokens, that's different language, different meaning, different words, different energy behind it, because it's shifting this, oh, I care enough about the environment that I want these individuals to get to free and abundant energy quicker. So we're not just talking about the globe or a state, a country or a state, county, city, business, government building. We're talking about an individual home. So every piece, we want to accelerate payouts so that there's free and abundant energy for everybody. And then that's what's in my mind today. So that's what I wanted to get out, is that we should shift that to a donation model, add in the second bill if there is one, and then donate to receive access to buy coins. And then you're able to accumulate coins by submitting your own data and or donating and buying coins. So for people that don't have solar, they can donate and buy coins. And they'll still receive the benefit of the solar, wind, and battery build out. And then one more thing, because we're extending the donation model through all these pieces. For the build out of solar, wind, and battery projects across the globe, there will be some fundraising, but there will also be some donation acceptance. And with this piece, any donation that comes into the main pot that's going to be used to create revenue agreements with localities across the globe becomes like a royalty for it. So as long as there's revenue coming in from that project, you're going to get that percentage of the revenue. And that is remarkable, because we want to encourage donations on the platform. And so if you're donating to an individual, you get access to buy tokens. But if you're donating to the main pot, you receive royalty in tokens until for the useful life of that project. So you can set yourself up to where you're creating legacy royalties for your entire family into perpetuity. And this is this is thought of only in our highest financial products. So we can create that ourselves. And I think it's important, because we extend, if someone donates $5, we spend 20 million on a project, they're going to receive a little bit of that revenue every time. So it doesn't matter how much money you repurpose, you're going to receive a proportionate value of the revenue. And that can be coded in blockchain security. It's pretty cool, when you think about it along those lines, because then that would encourage people to donate more and more to the main pot. And then the projects will come in. Everybody who holds tokens gets to vote on which project is next. And they also get to vote on how much money out of the pot gets to be used for that project. So it's participatory governance and budget. and this is important, and this is, that's not new. That's the foundation of these crypto projects, but it's important. So that's kind of the brainstorm here. And then, major investors can dump money into the main pot, and then we build out solar, wind, and batteries, and they receive a proportionate value of that revenue. We would encourage more and more money to be dumped into that, because that would encourage more and more people from around the world to list, we need help, we need this now, get this here now. And then, we make it a revenue agreement with that locality. And part of all these revenue agreements are going to include the following, like 4 different things. But the first one is, are we the platform paying for the entire system or a portion of it? So that's the first part. So if it's paying for the entire thing, then we receive the revenue 100%. If we pay for a proportion of it, then we receive the revenue, that proportion of the percent. The second piece is, we want to be able to cover the cost of the project and the maintenance on the project. So it's going to be a little bit more revenue that we're going to bring in above break even, because we want to cover that maintenance cost. If we come to the agreement as a protocol that we would also want to cover the cost of the next battery, that will be decided then, because recycling will be bigger than, and it might be a closed loop system potential by that point. So we'll talk about that then. But then after we reach the level of recoupment that we want, we have a step down. So we'll say 1 quarter at a time, we'll decrease the amount of revenue we're taking by 25%. So over the course of the year, you're going to start to receive that revenue that's coming in, and or choose to make the energy free for your people. So you can reduce how much they're spending on electricity by 25% per quarter until it's free. So then we know that the net present value of that project is coming in. So when we reach that final step and it comes down to 0, that means that system is paid for, working, and we give the option to the locality to either say we're going to charge a price to the people, or we're going to give it to them for free. And then we're going to encourage a lot of, the whole idea here is for free and abundant energy. So just start building over capacity, and then just get right back in the game, so that you get to 500% over capacity. And that's vital. So, but as the revenue comes in, it's going to go right back into that main pot, which increases the value of the coin. So eventually there's going to be so many projects bringing in revenue that, and people donating, we might, fit the legal pieces for big money players. So if it's a security, then it will be listed as a security on all the regulatory agencies. So we've talked about that, and it might be just easier to do it that way until we can prove that it's a commodity, because batteries are a commodity, and something that most people don't think of right now is batteries are a sustainable resource that will lead to us not having to take from the earth anymore. Not, it's going to fill up the landfills or all of this stuff. That's old paradigm stuff. There's actually more than around 99% of battery can be reused. And the recycling experts are saying hundreds and hundreds of times, if not thousands of times. So that the raw materials inside of a battery can be reused thousands of times when you recycle. So each time you're recycling it, you're not degrading the raw material that's entering the new cycle. So this means that in many occasions, the raw material that comes in from a recycled battery is higher grade than that coming in from the mine. because a lot of them are starting to go lower on the quality to get the price down. And then it's like when you run it through the lithium refining factories, the grade, it can be graded differently. But then if solar panels become commodity, why can't electrons be a commodity? Because they're a raw material. They're an input material. So maybe we redefine, but that's all legal and later on. But I think just to be safe is listed as security, and then there won't be any problems regulatorily.